Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. I am Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
We got another jam-packed show, and I'll kick it off with the voice you just heard at the beginning. A big happy birthday, a big 60th birthday to the one and only Paul Heyman. 60 years old, man. I can't believe it. I've been watching that guy for so many years, but we'll get
Why
into
did I
some.
feel like he was older than 60?
So did I. I mean, he definitely
Like,
looks
not
older.
to throw shade or throw jabs or anything. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm like, really? Okay, cool. He's got plenty of time left in the ring.
I double looked when I saw the 60. I was like,
If Ric Flair
really?
can go until he's dirt, I mean, shoot, Paul Heyman can too.
Oh my gosh. And we'll get into some NFL news, some random miscellaneous. I got some NBA news I wanted to bounce off you. We'll have our boy. It is Thursday. So that means it's open mic night at Ava's. Anthony will join us at 8 o'clock, and we'll throw in some football picks with him since he's a cheesehead and the Packers are playing tonight. So if you want to jump in and take part in football picks, you can call in at 8 o'clock. Plus, we can make you some money if you're smart enough to join us at 8:30 and hear what Bolt has got us this week. And we still have a pair of fair tickets to give away. I've been keeping everyone's info so I can throw it into the running, but you can call or text in anytime throughout the show. Just remember to throw in your name, your date of birth, and all that if you want to get in the running just by texting in to 661-842-2000.
Get your your fare tickets for free right here on the Early Bird Special. Today and tomorrow, your last days that we know of as of right now.
Oh, we got some next week, too.
Oh, do we got some next week, too?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I didn't realize that was greenlit yet, but sweet.
I just saw it this morning. So
and trust me, there are plenty of concerts you're going to want to go check out. We mentioned them yesterday.
Deep fried food. We just saved you dinner.
It's really true. I mean, every bit of money that you were going to pay on that ticket can go towards, I don't know, corn dog, a gyro. There are some deep fried Oreos somewhere around there.
What was that?
A gyro.
What the heck is that?
Most people call them gyros, but
yeah, so do I. I don't know what it is.
A gyro is it's a Greek sandwich.
Okay.
That's the technical pronunciation.
Sounds good.
I have family who are Greek, so if I didn't say it correctly, they would slap me upside the head and say, "You know better." I said, "Okay, fine. I'm sorry,
that boy."
But it is what it is. We got to talk football though to start off the show, obviously, because it's Thursday night football. We got a game tonight as the Bakersfield boy defends his home in Lambeau Field against the Washington Commanders. A old rivalry restored technically as Micah Parsons looks to go head-to-head with Jaden Daniels one more time. I am very excited for this game. It's going to be very competitive. It's probably going to be the best Thursday night football game in quite some time, and you know why I say that. Last year, maybe even the year before that, kind of been lackluster in those Thursday night games. Usually those were the games everyone steered away from, especially in like fantasy football. You didn't really want to play the guys who were playing on Thursday night because they weren't doing very well.
Yeah, I've been sticking with that same thing.
I think this game is going to be the game to finally shift away from that. We're going to see some high-powered offenses led by some great quarterbacks. And honestly, watching Micah Parsons go to work against any team is always entertaining. What do you expect to see tonight?
I think it's going to be a great game. I'm hoping that usually I do steer away from starting Thursday night game players in my fantasy, but when you have a matchup like this, it's kind of difficult to do that. You might dig yourself into a hole, and plus it's early in the season. Once you get deeper in the season and it's a short week for these guys, it does take a toll on I mean, I'm talking fantasy, but on their bodies when they have a short week. And usually I will follow up with starting them the following week when they have a longer rest before their Sunday or Monday night game. But I'm looking forward to the game. I'm still on the fence on who I'm going to pick, but we'll find out at 8 o'clock when we do our football picks. And next Thursday, it's going to be a barn burner because we got the Dolphins and the Bills. So just enjoy your Thursday night game before you start getting into let's just say not as
that could be a trap game. You never know.
I mean, we played the Bills tight last year, but sure. I'm worried on what kind of product the Dolphins are going to put out this week. And it's funny that I brought this up because not only am I looking forward to this game, but Tua has been getting a lot of hate
Well, I
and
mean,
some definitely well deserved. But these interviews have been going back and forth in social media, and I did pull one clip that I wanted to throw out today before any of our guests come in. And Tua had this to say about, I would say, digging the team out of the hole.
I think it's hard for me because I don't see any of what you guys are talking about. Like I don't have any social media. I go home. I'm with my kids, with my family. Kids want to watch Disney Channel or Disney Plus. Like gonna put whatever's on for them. Then I'll play like games with my wife while I'm there. So I wouldn't say I get to hear a lot of that or see a lot of that, but it doesn't matter anyways. Like, are they gonna help us win the game? Are they gonna help us lose the game? Like that starts within. And so if we can look at each other and look at the things that we can correct and things that we can help each other on to move forward to hopefully get a win, this upcoming Sunday, I think that's what we should be focusing on.
I steered away from the game because I wanted to you've coached players, you've coached some football teams. I heard a little bit of Greg Kerr's show yesterday. He was getting into kind of what other, the big heads in ESPN are saying, that the Dolphins are a garbage fire and this team
well,
has got no mindset and they've given up on the coach. I don't see that, but I wanted to hear from you because I know you played some football, you've coached some footballs. Is that the kind of mindset you want in your
Tua's
leader?
100%. That's exactly what you want. Although there is a level to, being a family man and a professional football player that I think Tua still needs to dance on. I'm all for family time. I'm all for you kind of disconnecting at home because I'm that way. I was always raised that you leave work at work and you go home and you're at home. Somebody who grew up in a family who had a family business, my grandfather stressed that when he is at work, he is your boss. When he is at home, he's grandpa. You know what I mean? Like it's two completely different worlds. So I get why he separates the two. But I will say it is still concerning from what we saw in week one up against the Colts, because that was a team, granted, maybe not a for sure win for you in Miami, but should have at least been a tune up game to a point where you figured out where you are. And if that is where you are and you believe you are, we have a problem. I am all for you going and being a family man, but you also have to take the football part of your life seriously as well. And you can't sit there and say that you don't see it, because it's not just on the internet,
Yeah,
bud.
just play dumb.
It's ESPN.
You were on the
It's
field. You saw
Yeah,
it.
it's on the field. You can't sit there and tell me that first game was successful for you. The media is asking you questions about it. So it is there. It is prevalent. I agree that, yes, that's the mindset you want from your quarterback, because it shows me it's the next step mentality. Get that game out of your head, just like a relief pitcher, and move on to the next one. That last one does not matter anymore. But I also agree with you that I don't see that they have given up on McDaniels just yet. But I mean, we have a promo running right now where I think you said it beautifully. If they can't figure it out within weeks 3, 4, 5, I'll give you week 2. Week 2, we're going to see some sort of development, I would hope.
I
But if
would.
you can't figure it out in 3, 4, 5, McDaniels is on the way out.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the damn logo tattooed on my leg. I would say they need to show up this weekend.
Yes.
Not only, I mean, I could go through the past. Tua is 7-0 against the Patriots. They've always played well in New England. Post Brady.
But the 7-0 also should be a concern to you, because when does the levee break?
Yeah.
And this is the worst possible time for it to break.
And it's the worst I've seen them play in a long time.
Now,
and trust me, I've seen a lot of bad Dolphin games. The 1-15 team, the 1-16 team, with the only win was against Baltimore with a Heartline 68-yard touchdown in overtime. I mean, I've seen some horrible teams, but I've never seen a team give up like they did in that game.
Honestly, I think it was a shell shock to everybody, going down 30-0 at one point to Daniel Jones and a Colts team that nobody really expected to have any success at all. I think I would hope, I should say, that was a moment of clarity for a lot of the players where they say, okay, we got to fix it on our end too. I don't think that all of that was solely on McDaniel, because he was making calls, but you were not executing. Tua throwing picks is not on McDaniel. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of mounting frustrations. Maybe there's a cancer or two that needs to be cut out. I think there are moves that you can be that you can make to potentially save your job if you are Mike McDaniel?
I think the shell shock words are perfect. I
Right.
think that's what it was. I think they got slapped in the face and they were shell shocked.
Yeah, but
And I think this is the week that they need to show up.
But I love what I heard from Tua. Don't get me wrong. I like that he doesn't let it get to him. I like that it's all a mental thing for him and he's, focusing on being the best he could possibly be as well as being a good dad. Love that. But let's not plead ignorance.
Yeah.
It's there. Every player knows it's there, whether you have social media or not. But keep that energy. Do not get on social media. You do not need it.
No. And that's probably the
If I'm
smartest
a
thing to do.
professional athlete, I don't need it. If we have to have one, I'm handing it off to my assistant and say, you will be running that, not me.
Yep.
And if anything comes down, best know that you're taking the fall, not me.
And I'll say it, and I'll say it again. I still think these next 3 weeks, Miami in New England, in Buffalo, and then at home against the Jets. These are the games that you either show up and turn out for your coach, or him and the GM should be on their way out. But speaking of football, there is some updated injury news. Brock Purdy, we've been talking about it. He's got a shoulder injury. The bigger issue was the toe issue, and now it's been updated. He is going to be out 2 to 5 weeks. So Mac Jones will be back under center playing a quarterback for at least the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm starting to feel bad for 49er fans. I really am. I mean, the injury bug has never left. It, for some reason, loves the taste of your blood, and it has not left for years. I feel for you. I do. I think Mac Jones is capable enough to at least keep you competitive, but now these games are going to come down to Christian McCaffrey and a defense. So if you're a fantasy football player and you happen to have drafted Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers defense, as some of you know, I mean, most of you did, I would assume.
I did.
You're going to be happy. But I don't know. We're going to see the second coming of Mac Jones. I think everybody's kind of hoping that this will be Mac Jones's time to step into a new role, much like Daniel Jones, and maybe turn around his career, find a new starting spot somewhere else, like many before him have. Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, just to name a few. But we will see. What we will see is Kyle Shanahan tries to revamp this offense around a Mac Jones instead of a Brock Purdy. The more I'm trying to think of it, though, are their games very different? I wouldn't say so.
Not really.
I'd say they're pretty dang close. So I don't know if the 49ers are going to be incredible on offense, but I think you'll still be somewhat competitive.
And luckily they played the Saints this weekend.
Exactly. So like we said earlier this week, could be a worse game for Brock Purdy to go down with a toe injury.
Exactly. And hopefully it's shorter version, but you never know. Maybe Mac Jones has got his resurgence and he comes back in a quarterback kind of offense that will help him. I mean, nobody expected Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, to come out, and now he's a millionaire. So we'll see how that goes. We'll get into some other NFL news, and we've got some fantasy questions already. Send them in. Make sure you send them in with your name and your info if you want some fair tickets on us right here. We are the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back. Sorry, I had to hear the first part. This is the early bird special right here on 101.1 FM, 12:30 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video live every single weekday, 7 to 9 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We're all over the place on social media. Feel free. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff. There's reels all over the place. I'm sure you can find. There's going to be more here coming out probably over the weekend as well as the incredible slate of football continues over the weekend. We'll get to college ball at some point today as well. There's a couple key matchups that you'll want to look out for that you'll also be able to hear right here on ESPN Bakersfield. I'd be able to tell you what they are, but I do not believe we got a schedule this week. So I will get those for you and be able to announce them here tomorrow for you if you are somebody who likes to listen to your sports on the radio. But there's plenty more to talk about in the world of the NFL. Like we said, tonight, Washington heads to Green Bay to go face the Bakersfield boy and Jordan Love in Lambeau. I'm expecting a pretty high-powered offensive game, even though both of these defenses looked fantastic in week one. But both of these quarterbacks are far too talented to be able to keep down for long. Plus, I'm pretty certain that at least the Washington Commanders wide receivers, rather, I apologize, are going to be going out and trying to cut the throat of the secondary of this Packers defense, and the secondary, to be specific. The Packers secondary, although a little thin, still can be competitive. But when you have talented receivers like Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, and Terry did not get what he was hoping for in week one, let's be honest, he's going to be looking to have a massive week two and get back on track. I still think if you're a fantasy football player, if you have either of those wide receivers, start them this week. I genuinely believe you're going to get a good production out of both of them. And Jaden is going to do everything he can to get touchdowns flowing for the offense, especially early against a pass rush that's led by Micah Parsons, who's going to be crashing down even more this week than he was in week one, who now, from what we understand, was one of the main advocates for them playing him in week one. He wanted LaFleur and everybody to know that they made the right decision trading for him and signing him long term, and that he could really catch on to this defense quickly. He showed that he could last week. So we'll see what happens in week two against a team that's very, very familiar with his game. So I'm curious to see if maybe the scheme in Green Bay will be enough to change up how Washington will actually attack him and how to neutralize him. But this is a team that is used to playing against Micah Parsons. They know exactly how dangerous Micah could be in every single game. So I'm expecting a pretty entertaining game throughout tonight. I'm very hopeful that Jordan Love has a great game as well, as somebody who drafted him in fantasy football this year. And everybody claims that this is that year where Jordan takes the leap into MVP status. Do you believe that that will be the case, Spark?
I still think he's probably a couple years away to see. I mean, there's so much damn talent with, especially at the quarterback position.
It's hard to compete with guys like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, just to name a few. Jaden Daniels,
I mean,
the guy you're going to be going up against tonight, is a bona fide MVP candidate, in
this
my
would be a
opinion.
major step if he could do it tonight. I mean, just having these big games and big, national televised games where the whole world is watching. I still think he's probably a year away, but if he can make these big steps, I think he should be in the running. I know off season everyone was talking, this he is an MVP. He's already proven that he's an MVP. I'm still, and I was surprised that like rookie receiver didn't get as many targets as, and I mean, I know Parsons was on a snap count last week. I heard LaFleur on Unsportsmanlike this morning saying that there is no snap count, that they're gonna just let the dog off the leash this week, and I think it's just gonna be entertaining football. So I'm looking forward to this game. There's a couple other games this weekend that I've kind of circled that I'd like to catch. The Sunday night game, the doubleheader. It rarely happens, but we get a couple of times a year where we get two Monday night football games. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. You can hear right here on ESPN Bakersfield. I believe coverage starts at 4:30.
I believe so. Yeah, the game starts at 5. Usually it's about half an hour before the game starts. But the one area I would say steer clear from for your fantasy football guys tonight would be the run game. I do not expect Austin Eckler and this young running back core in Washington to be able to get much against this front seven of the Packers, and vice versa as well for Josh Jacobs. It's going to be very tough sledding against Dan Quinn's defense and a front seven in Washington that has been, to be frank, formidable no matter who has been there, because there were moments on this defense where they had 4 bona fide Pro Bowlers at one time, and they've lost them all periodically the last couple of years and have still looked fantastic with whomever they put in there. So it is pretty safe to say that the scheme of Washington's defense is just built to be tough, built to stop the run. And I think that that's going to happen pretty well tonight. Josh Jacobs being one of the best running backs in the league, I think he'll be able to scrap still for maybe 60 yards and a touchdown. So if you're okay and content with that, I'd say start him. But I don't expect a huge game from Josh Jacobs. But then again, I've been wrong before. Yeah, and he could also get a ton in the pass game, just like Sparky said. So we'll see how this all works out for the Green Bay Packers tonight.
But before we get away from this game, we did have a fantasy question sent in that's regarding with this game. It says, I'm looking for a flex this week. Do I go with Sutton at the Colts, Breece Hall against Buffalo, or do I still roll with Debo at Green Bay tonight?
Okay. I like Sutton against the Colts. That's the only one that I'm really leaning on, but I like Sutton in general. He is really starting to flourish as the number 1 receiver for that Denver team. But I like Debo tonight too. You know what? I'm going to have to say stick with Sutton. I think Sutton has a better upside against that Colts defense, which is still, there's question marks, although again, they held Sparky's team. That is what it is, but we need to see them against a team that's a formidable playoff contender. I believe it was a fluke.
And I know they were pumped up with the whole Ursay celebration in their home game, snapping that home thing. They had a lot to play for. I like Debo, but I mean, it's tough because Sutton is going to go up against Xavier Howard or one of these.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is that the secondary of the Colts is much weaker, I would say, than the
and
Green
they
Bay
lost
Packers.
a safety last week. I mean, that secondary is going to be worked on.
And as much as I said earlier, Terry McLaurin's going to be looking to have a bounce back game. The ball can only be spread around so much. I do love that Debo was the number 1 target in week 1, and probably that will continue. Don't get me wrong. But I just like the upside of Sutton more. I really do. I think Sutton being the number 1 receiver is the best option for you.
I agree. I would probably do the same thing.
But
I know there was some other injuries before we get away with that. The big one was Bland in Dallas. It looks like he's going to be out a couple of weeks. And Drake London will play.
Yes,
Sunday night. That's good news.
That is fantastic news for Atlanta fans because God, is that wide receiver room getting thin right now with him and Mooney being both dinged up. But Bland, I think, is a bigger problem for you Dallas fans because you've already obviously lost your mainstay and your 2 corners were the best 2 parts of your defense left in Bland and Diggs, which I'm starting to say I'm going to have to eat crow here in a second because if they can go back-to-back weeks of locking down number 1 receivers like they have, granted, the Philadelphia Eagles are a well-known run team now, still locked down A.J. Brown to 1 target. That is pretty damn impressive. I will not deny. So Bland being out, I think, is going to ding up this defense even further, which is going to be rough for guys like Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb to have to keep up with because they now have to score 35, 40 points a game and even to be a contention to win a game. So
does that make Malik Neighbors kind of an eye opener for starting this week?
Probably, yeah, I would say. But one-on-one with Travion Diggs is going to be fun too. And as we saw in week 1 with the Giants, much like the Philadelphia Eagles, they weren't exactly scheming Neighbors open. There was a lot of frustration there with Neighbors. And if that happens back-to-back weeks, or if he gets locked down back-to-back weeks, well, one, obviously,
see some drama in New York.
Brian Daboll's job's already on the line. Don't get me wrong. But I think we're going to see a lot of heads getting lopped off because that's your star player. And if you're not getting the ball to your star player, how are you expected to win? So at this point, yes, I mean, to the untrained eye, obviously, yeah, you would want to play Neighbors, but I'm still skeptical of what this offense is going to look like in New York. And if Russ is still the quarterback there, I don't trust it. I really don't. He hasn't really established himself with a number one receiver since Doug Baldwin. Let's be honest. I mean, he hasn't.
Wow.
Name one that he had in Denver. He
No.
never made that connection with anybody. He never figured it out. And honestly, I don't know if he can. I think that's just part of his game. It's now a massive hole. He just has not, he tries to spread the ball maybe too much, or maybe he's just making decisions that don't benefit the star guy, which star guys don't like, obviously. But we'll see in week 2 what happens against the Dallas Cowboys, and now missing Bland. I'm skeptical if you want to start Neighbors or not. And that's weird to say, to be honest with you. I just don't trust the Giants.
And see how this ends. It's the kind of same thing I'm with Tyreek. I'm like, it's either gonna be a high scoring Tyreek in fantasy, or you're gonna get Jack nothing.
And at this point, I think Tyreek Hill's entire situation, I mean, we've mentioned it multiple times on this show. I think a separation there, that's got to happen sooner rather than later.
I think it's the same thing. I think it's going to be the package with McDaniel. I think if he loses this team in the next 3 weeks with these division games, it's going to be a package where the coach, the GM, and Tyreek are probably all out. And now with the legal issues hovering over Tyreek, which has been a thing for years, I think is just going to lower the value that what Miami gets out of him.
I want to know how many times, though, he has reached out to the GM and the coach and asked for Tyreek's departure. You know what I mean? Like, not like directly saying, I want this guy out, but maybe in those trade talks last year when you're trying to ship around pieces, how many times did McDaniel say, well, the wide receiver room probably could lose a guy? Because if he hasn't brought it up by now, I'd be shocked.
And I'm still pumped with, Malik Washington. I think the guy's got some skills. We didn't even get to see him much in the first game until, they finally took Tyreek out of the game. But that kid has some flashy moves, and he's quick.
Well, and I keep saying it, but what in this scheme does Tyreek Hill do that Jalen Waddle couldn't?
Waddle?
I'm going to call him Waddle as long as I can. I don't care. I know it's Waddle. Okay. I realize I like calling him Waddle. It's Waddle. Waddle. No, but seriously, what does he do that Waddle doesn't or couldn't do? It's not like you're scheming
deep.
big, but see, you don't throw it to him deep.
Yeah,
he hasn't had a connection.
They try.
They haven't had a connection over a year.
That one, I mean, Tua was out.
I understand that, but still,
who else was going to throw a deep ball? Skylar Thompson?
You have to trust somebody to.
No.
Over 30 yards.
He had 2 seconds to throw a deep ball. There wasn't nothing to do. But the fact is, Tyreek also lost 2 games last week. But the deep ball, they tried 3 times, and Tua overthrew him twice, and those were one of the 2 turnovers that he had. But the fact is the offensive line actually looked better than last year in week 1. And it's the same thing Xavier Howard was. Is Tua, when his number one option is, like, it looks like when he hikes it, his mind is already set. And that's a bad issue when you have a quarterback looking and doesn't have a second look. And that was the whole thing. And it's been an issue with Miami is when Tua, he gets in his head, and when he's just at the first look, when the defense takes away the first look, he gets panicked. He looks scared, and that you can see it a mile away. And sometimes Tua looks panicked, and sometimes he looks comfortable. And I mean, it almost looks like McCarthy in the fourth quarter when I saw him do the over route out of the bounds. I was like, that is a clean, smooth. They already knew what they were going to do, and it's just hit and miss with Tua. And I'm on the fence, and I'm usually back this kid up. But I think you're right. I think when it comes to Tyreek, it might be a change of scenery for both that will kind of benefit both of us.
Well, that was the point I was going to get to, is that I just don't see scheme-wise for Miami that you can't get the same product out of Waddle that you get out of Tyreek.
The only issue is with Waddle is he's injury prone.
Fair. That's absolutely fair. But my point being was you don't connect deep with Tyreek, so you can't sit there and say that's part of your game plan. So why do you have him? He's the fastest receiver in the league, and you don't run deep routes, or at least you can't connect with him on deep routes. So what's the point, right? You need guys that are easy going over the middle. You
remember when Tyreek came out, he wasn't a receiver.
Well, that's not, again, that's not the point. The point is Tua is a quarterback, and even at Alabama, where he was better off going short to mid range over the middle, stuff that's easy, not, I shouldn't say easily completable, but easy to get in rhythm, like you said, and stuff that he can look at and say, okay, he's there already. Waiting for a deep route, Tua's never been really the deep route guy.
Well,
But
that's not where Tyreek made his money, was going deep.
I disagree. I think where Tyreek
Tyreek
made
was
his
a
money
running
with
back when he came into the draft, and that's what Kansas City started in. He was a backfield, and he did short routes, and that was the
no.
mindset.
Do you not remember the times where Patrick would roll out and Tyreek's 20 yards down
But
the
that was
field?
deeper. When Tyreek, his rookie year, he played running back.
But we're well past his rookie
I'm
year.
telling you, the mindset is the quick routes, and that's why we had Waddle. The successful years with Waddle and Tyreek is when they couldn't match both of them, and they put them on both sides, and that's what they would expand the league. Now they're playing in the box and taking away that middle threat, and it's scaring the hell out of Tua.
See, but that's my point. You're not using Tyreek to his best ability.
Yeah,
His best
or
ability
Waddle,
would be going deep.
or Waddle.
Fair, but again, I haven't seen that kind of production from Waddle that I've seen from Tyreek Hill. My point being is that you're not using Tyreek to his abilities. You're not using him properly, and you haven't since you had him. So why keep him?
I mean,
Use it now. Get what you
the
can
kid
out
almost
of
had
it.
2,000 yards a couple years ago, so they were using him at a
That's
certain
fair.
point.
That's fair. At least at a certain point, they were using it. But the last 2 years, at least, when the frustration started, and we're well over a year of him getting anything deep like he should.
Yeah, you need your quarterback playing more than 4 games in a season before
Again,
you're ever going to run anything that you're putting on playbooks.
that's fair. But again, you have to be able to trust that he's a player and he can at least make the play
Yeah.
you need him to.
Of course.
So if you tell Skylar Thompson, step 4 or 5 steps back, chuck it as deep as you can, let Tyreek go get it.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. But we'll take our break. We'll wrap up this segment and give away some fair tickets. We've got 3 or 4 more fantasy questions. We've got text them in 661-842-2000.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming live video on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. Just find us the Early Bird Special or the Early Bird Special Official. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff. We're live every single weekday from 7 to 9 right here in Bakersfield, California. Right out to as many places as humanly possible for you guys and your entertainment. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Chime in and let us know. We will be doing our waiver picks on Tuesdays now. I know a lot of people were texting in, or at least texting me yesterday. Where were the waiver picks? Well, waivers are on Tuesdays now. Most people have to actually put in their waivers a little early, unlike other people I know. I hate when leagues try to push it back to waivers on Thursdays. It's so annoying. I hate having to wake up Thursday and seeing that I lost out on a player. It's so annoying.
Especially when you have a Thursday guy or
Exactly. And you have to wait for them, hoping that you could actually play them at the Thursday night games.
that's why we
Ugh.
switched ours in our league.
It is what it is. But there's plenty more to talk about. Let's talk about the Sunday night game a little bit. Atlanta heading out to Minnesota to take on the Vikings after a pretty impressive come from behind victory on Monday against the Bears. JJ McCarthy will be having his first home game against Michael Penix and this Falcons team, who was banged up a little bit. I am excited to watch this one, obviously being a Falcons fan, but it is going to be a great test for Michael Penix, who I am continuously impressed every single time I watch this guy play for one word, and that's his poise. He never looks rattled. And that's honestly what I think Atlanta has been missing from the quarterback position. The last couple that we've relied on, Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota, a lot of happy feet. A lot of movement, and you don't see that a lot from Michael Penix. He moves when he needs to. He makes plays. Drake London is really starting to step up as that number one receiver and become a wide receiver well known in the NFL to be one of the toughest. And him playing on this collarbone issue is going to probably solidify that, but hopefully it's not something super serious that becomes a problem throughout the game. Bijan Robinson, if you haven't got a chance to watch this guy play, you're doing yourself a disservice, and I'm saying that as a football fan. If you like Saquon Barkley and you like very active running backs, Saquon's, your Christian McCaffrey's. I love Josh Jacobs, but he kind of has that to a degree. I feel like he's more of a power back than he's a scat back. But watching Bijan play every single week is entertaining, and Atlanta's going to find a way to get him the ball against a defense that blitzes the ever-living crap out of young quarterbacks. And I expect Brian Flores to do exactly that with Van Ginkel and this fantastic linebacker crew, who are going to be looking to just make it a hell of a day for Michael Penix and Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson and everybody in that backfield. What are your expectations, my friend?
That's exactly what it is. I think it's going to be Minnesota's defense just pushing the line. I think we're going to see a lot of zero blitz, and they're going to test him. I like Penix. I'm not sold that he's the future for Atlanta, but we'll see. I think this is a good test for any young quarterback to, go up against a Brian Flores defense. I'm hoping that I know Drake London's not 100%, and they're going to try to push it. I just hope he doesn't push it too much. But I think it should be a hell of a game, and we'll see. I know we've read and heard a lot of people on the fence if McCarthy is what we're going to see in the fourth quarter, what we saw, or if that was kind of the adjustments. But I think now with a defense and the NFL being able to look at some tape and being able to adjust, I think Atlanta will be set to know what to expect from McCarthy, more of a game manager. But when you get Justin Jefferson and some talented players over in Jones, what's the other Jordan Mason? I think it's going to be a hell of a game.
I know a lot of people that feel the same way you do about the Michael Penix situation. A stat that's been going around, though, that I've been using to kind of thwart people's thoughts on that: Michael Penix has more yards right now than the past four quarterbacks that were drafted by Atlanta in the first, 4, 5, 6 games of his career. And it's by a considerable amount. And we're talking about over guys like Matt Ryan, Michael Vick, bona fide Hall of Famers. So I'm telling you right now, I think this kid's got it. He genuinely does. As long as he could stay healthy, that's the biggest question mark, because obviously he's had health concerns in his time with Indiana and with Washington. but I like what I've seen from the kid. I think that this is going to be one of those games where he can finally show everybody that Atlanta's in good hands. And if we're talking about Tampa Bay being a Super Bowl contender, like as I said on Monday, I'm cool with the way we played on Sunday. Because if we're playing against a Super Bowl contender and we almost beat that contender, that means Atlanta's in a dang good spot, and they could show everybody on Sunday that that's exactly where they are if they play well against, honestly, I believe, a championship caliber coaching staff in Minnesota. Because as you've heard me say many times, the best coaching staffs in the NFL are the ones where you can look at the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator and realize they don't just have one head coach, they have three. I think that's what Detroit really benefited from the last couple years is they knew they had three bona fide head coaches on that staff, not just Dan Campbell. They had Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. And obviously, we all saw it in week one what happens when you take away those coaches, plus a lot of their understudies, for the lack of a better word, their sub coaches. It makes a difference. And when you have a team like Minnesota, who, let's be honest, for the first 3 quarters of that game against Chicago, looked lost, looked frustrated. But what did I say on Tuesday? Kevin O'Connell and this coaching staff did the exact right thing. They looked at their young guys and said, "We're fine. What are you talking about? We're okay. You're doing great.
It's your first game.
It's your
Shake it
first
off.
game. Relax. We're all good." And then what happened? Fourth quarter came around. JJ McCarthy turned into JJ McCarthy. Well, at least the college JJ McCarthy that we all know him to be. And I mean, we said it on Tuesday. JJ's not known for throwing over 200 yards. He really isn't. He's known for having these types of games, keeping his team in a competitive area and then winning at the end. That's exactly what he did at Michigan. That's exactly what he did in Minnesota. Is that going to be enough to beat a team like Atlanta? We'll see. I think Chicago had much bigger question marks on the offensive side than Atlanta does. And Atlanta was able to keep up with a defense in Tampa Bay that, again, everybody's giving a lot of flowers to. So I'm
Schefter.
expecting. I mean, that's not who better to give you flowers than the best guy in the room.
It's week one. We'll see. That's another game I'm looking forward to. The other one we'll get into after the break is what you brought up is Detroit and Chicago. I think that's going to be another great game, and two guys that know each other really well. And we'll get into that and much more right after this break. We are the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming live online video-wise, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at the Early Bird Special, the Early Bird Special Official. I believe our YouTube handle is actually EBS Bakersfield as well. That makes a difference. All you have to do is go into the search bar there, though, and type in the Early Bird Special. We should be one of the first ones that pop up. We got a couple more stories to talk about in the world of football, though. And at some point today, we will get to the 4 men arrested in connection to this Ethan Pritchard shooting at Florida State. We'll probably get to that after our talk with Bolt Brady at 8:30 as he tries to help you win some money over the weekend in week 2 of the NFL, as well as week 3 of the NCAA. We got to get to our guy, Anthony Jauregui, first, though, right after the break here, talk about the pregame show.
And if you want to do some football picks, call at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, 842-2000. And if you beat us, we will have some fair tickets for you next week. Look at that.
Absolutely.
Look at that. It all lines up.
And if you listen to the First Look with Scott Cox show here on our sister station of Kern, you actually already heard our spot or our picks technically. I don't think they're going to change that much. I did switch one just because. But I hate when I look at my list and I go half and half, 8 away teams, 8 home teams. I don't know how this happens, but for some reason this happens with me, and I don't mean to do this. It just kind of works out that way. But I know it never actually works out that way. It never ends up being 8 teams at home, 8 teams away end up winning. So I always have to look at that and say, oh God. It's kind of like a SAT test when you realize you pick C too many times and you have to go back because you know most of those are wrong. You know they are. But
we got a text said, did you guys feel the earthquake? I didn't
feel anything. I heard everybody say, a good amount of people I know said they felt that. I think it was more in the southwest side of town. But no, I did not feel anything here in the central. But then again, I'm right outside of the construction of California Avenue. So I feel earthquake all day. That's always fun. So,
but the Lions and the Bears, Ben Johnson's return.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think the Lions are going to come out firing and they're going to beat down on the Bears. I don't think this is going to be a game that you can really give Ben Johnson or the Bears flack for looking bad because, I mean, we heard yesterday, Amon-Ra St. Brown already said they don't care. They're going to boo him. They're going to boo him too. They are not happy Ben Johnson left. And I'm sure they're not happy that Aaron Glenn left either. But the offensive side is going to be a little more vocal about this, let's be honest. And I do believe that defense in Detroit is going to be raring and ready to go against their old offensive coordinator, especially, and guys like Aiden, who did not have a great week 1. He's going to be looking to bounce back in week 2. And at whose better expense than the guy that you have been practicing against for the last couple years, and his offense better than anybody. So I am expecting Detroit to come out, pop them in the mouth, especially being at home. Now, can Chicago obviously thwart this? Sure. But we're going to need to see a Chicago team that's raring and ready to go for war because that's what you're going to get.
I was going to say, because it can kind of go both ways. I'm not a big Caleb fan, and losing that game at the end with last week, I think Chicago is going to be hungry. I don't know which team we're going to show up in Detroit. I'm kind of leaning toward Chicago the more I read about it. And I like Ben Johnson, and I think he's got to obviously clean up some things. It's only been a game with him in Chicago, and he knows a lot of the Detroit players. He's, been coaching there for several years. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I'm still on the fence on which one to go with.
This is true. And I mean, granted, yes, Ben Johnson knowing the defense is going to play just as much as a factor as the defense knowing Ben Johnson's offense. But there is something about this game. The Detroit Lions are at home. I'm not going to say they're angry. I don't think anybody's really angry at the departure. It's more of like, okay, you used to be our coach. So, you left us, so we have to teach you a lesson kind of a thing. I've played on many teams that had that be the case. And you just come out with a different energy, especially after losing to a division rival last week in the Green Bay Packers. You need to get back on track. I feel like this game is the perfect opportunity for Detroit to do that. It's their home opener as well. There's something in Detroit that I don't see them being embarrassed by a division rival 2 weeks in a row. So I got to lean on the fact that Dan Campbell's going to figure something out to get this team motivated, to get this team ready to go. And we're going to see the Detroit Lions that we saw last year play against the Chicago Bears and hopefully have a resurgence in everybody's mind as one of the top teams in the NFC. Because at this point, if you don't kind of find that rhythm again, I think everybody's on the track of you might be sliding back down to the Lions of old. And that's not a good sign.
I heard that from Lion fans last week.
And again, overreactions from week one, we realize, but at the end of the day, everybody has their thoughts on this. We'll see what happens in week 2. This is the time in which you see the most development out of your teams. And if you see no development at all, that's when you hit the panic button.
It's going to be a long season if it is, because Detroit's got a tough schedule.
Absolutely. As every division rival always does, but that's what you get when you have winning football. I mean, this is the price you pay. You have great players on this team still. All they really need to do is step up and play to their ability, and you could figure this out and actually turn this season around. You're only down 0-1, and it was to a team that's a playoff team. It's not like you lost to somebody who's a nobody. So I think the Detroit Lions are still alive, but I'm not going to lie. We're getting ready to grab that EKG machine. We may need a shock. Especially if Ben Johnson comes in and sneaks one away. Because if you lose to the Packers and the Bears back-to-back, fans in Detroit are going to riot. You've already given them a taste of success. They do not want anything less. I can promise you that. They've had plenty to cry about the last couple of years. We got to take a break and pay some bills, though. Our guy, Anthony Jauregui, will be on the other side, hopefully make you laugh until you cry. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. And don't forget, go follow us on all social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff at the Early Bird Special. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Early Bird Special, Hour 2, right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Streaming.
Their headphones.
I know. Everybody can never figure out headphones. I'm not sure why. It's always awkward to people. Like they've never seen a pair of over-the-ear headphones before.
Do I put these on?
You know what it is? I blame AirPods. I blame AirPods and earbuds because once those came out, no one ever bought these anymore. And I've always loved DJ style headphones. I don't understand why everybody can't get on board with that. But our guy Anthony Jauregui is in the building. I'm sorry not to put you on blast for not figuring out your earphones. But
No, you're good. I was holding my breath to say something. I didn't want to interrupt you while you were making fun of me. But
welcome to my world.
I'm good morning, everybody. How's it doing?
Good morning, beautiful.
Yeah, I was just listening as we're talking about the Detroit Lions and the Bears coming up, or was that too long ago? Is that the subject of
well,
today?
right before the break, yeah, we had to talk about a handful of the games in week 2.
Yeah. So how do you what do you think? How's the NFC North fitting?
Again, I picked you guys to win it this year. Don't look at me. I said you guys were going to win this year.
I think Green Bay could take the division. I'm just on the fence of the whole Jordan Love MVP talk.
Okay, yeah, I didn't say any of that. Listen,
yeah, I mean that's just in our world. That's what we've been hearing for the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I know that the media puts the Packers out there just because they have so many fans, and anytime they watch their videos, they get a boost in ratings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're talking about the Packers right now. You know, it's like I think they're a very good team, but it's a lot of talk still. I feel like Jordan Love has a lot to prove. He had one good game. And I still think that Tua Tagovailoa should be our quarterback.
Shut up.
Yeah, no, honestly, I have a thing for left-handed quarterbacks.
Well, yeah. There's one over there with
no.
He still has a lot to prove.
You could take Tua. Penix is staying in Atlanta.
Tua has already proven that he can't take a hit.
That's
I like those kind of guys. Yeah, I don't know.
Paper, skin, and glass bones, man.
Like Marino.
Yeah, it reminds me of my dad. He's 78.
Miss Marino. I've been saying that for 30 years, but I mean, there's so much talk right now. I mean, obviously on radio, but I mean, at the end of the day, half the league is 0-1 and the other half is 1-0. And if it was over after week 1, then we wouldn't be watching football every year, and it wouldn't be the highest watched sport. And there's always some curveballs, some crazy stories, and that's what keeps us watching. So, I mean, it's entertaining, and we'll see what teams, actually show up. And, I mean, if everybody had their predictions right, it wouldn't be entertaining.
I feel like Roger Goodell would find a way to make everybody entertained with a 1-0 or 0-1 season.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the losing teams get, beheaded or something like that. We'd find something, right?
Wow. They don't even have that. Maybe
gladiators, man. That's what they are. Modern day.
Maybe defooted or something.
There you go.
Feet, but I don't think we need to cut heads off.
I don't know, man. We love violence in this country, apparently. Everybody's cheering about some stuff in the last couple of days. I'll leave it at that.
9/11 today, and he's always swinging.
Oh, shoot. Did we already
say that?
Yeah. Did we take our moment already? Or?
No, we have not. I didn't even think about it in that case either. But How are you feeling, though, going into this matchup for you guys this weekend?
Oh, I'm pumped. I mean, all kidding aside, Jordan Love is my man. We both went to Liberty in spirit. I didn't go there. I couldn't afford it. But no, dude, I think the Packers this year, I've been, when your team's winning and all your Instagram feed or your YouTube feed is all the positive stuff about your team. I have not stopped watching the same YouTube video from 8 different podcasters saying Micah Parsons is it. You guys are going to be the Super Bowl champions. Like, I'm just reaffirming all my biases in my head. I know it's bad. I'm like, how? I haven't even heard anything about any other team, dude. I don't know how the Falcons are doing. The only mention of the Falcons I've heard this year is just the minute you talked about it as I was listening before.
It's the only time you ever will, too.
Honestly, until they're winning games like Jaden Daniels or CJ Stroud, Michael Penix with the X on an S, he's gonna be he's him and that do-rag, man. No offense, but I want to see what's under there, dude.
Don't look at me.
And
I'm not the one that tells him to wear
it. He's like Tim Pool. He's like one of these guys that just like always has a hat on. I'm like, what's under there, dude? I feel like he has another voice in there calling
waves,
plays,
bro.
If he had waves, he'd be showing them off. Don't you think? He's hiding something.
I don't know.
Propecia?
At this point,
I don't know, dude. Yeah, Young Hoku's getting a new kid.
Now
you tell me after I spend a second-round draft pick in fantasy that Young Hoku's not the best kicker in football.
You spent a what round draft pick in fantasy?
Yeah, I said second-round pick. We were comedians. I didn't try hard, but I thought he was good because the other year he like did a kick backwards, like jumping jack or something. He did like a cool kick, like on an Instagram video. Is he not a good kicker?
You picked him based on an Instagram video. That's all I need to know.
Yeah,
I need
you
to
guys
get
watch
into,
Instagram.
I need to get into a fantasy league with you.
Yeah.
I need to get into and you know what? We're gonna put down $100 a man.
No. I'll just give you $20 now. And then
There you go. I'll take that anyway.
I've heard about this comedian fantasy draft too.
Oh, dude, it was the best thing. Someone would just talk about a player they wanted. I didn't even want the player. I drafted right after him just to mess with them. Like, I have 4 quarterbacks. I don't need them. Yeah.
Oh, I would love to see what your roster looks like right now. You're gonna have to show me before you leave me.
Like.
Clearly, if you drafted a kicker second, this is why I need you in our fantasy league. Going into what we actually brought you in here for, though.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously the pregame show going on tonight at
Yes, sir.
Ava's. Now,
Yes,
this is
sir.
going to be the last one of the month, though.
Yeah,
What'd
it's
you tell me?
we wanted to go out with a bang, no pun intended. It's September 11th, but yeah, it's the last day of the month, last Thursday of the month that we're gonna be doing the pregame show because the Fox Theater is absorbing the room and using it for some sort of party.
I'm trying to hold back my laugh right now. I don't think the world is ready for my dark humor, and that was awful. Oh,
No,
It's fine. I mean, if you keep them rolling, man, I like
so
sleeping in.
bad.
I might get my mornings back.
Oh my god.
I mean, and speaking of the Fox, I talked to Matt Spindler yesterday. He's talking about joining us next week, so we'll get some updates on what's going on at the Fox Theater,
Heck
the
yeah.
Nile Theater, Ava's,
Mhm.
and we talked to Dan Betts a week or two ago, and he's giving us updates here and there. But it looks like the Well Comedy Club downtown is almost ready. We're getting closer. I saw the sign out front a couple months ago, and he's talking about like the 3 rooms, and I'm looking forward to just it being open and having lunch down there.
Yeah, I have an analogy for you. Sometimes my boss is like, "Hey, Anthony, you've been telling me this report is going to be done tomorrow."
Mm-hmm.
No, you've been telling me this report is going to be done next week. You've been telling me, and you say you're going to get it done. I'm like, yeah, I got it. Don't worry, it's going to get done. But then you look at my computer, and all I have written on the screen is the
Bye and
Bye.
your name.
And like I've been saying a lot of talk. I've been saying I'm going to do that. They'll be done. That's all I got to say.
Well, just moving, and especially downtown, it's not just an overnight move. I've been dealing with it for 4 years with MoneyWise and the Woolworth building, so I get it.
Yeah.
And we've been told that we're moving here in 2 weeks, so everything is starting to line up, I think. And even the owner is like so scared to hit enter on that email of saying, we're moving, because as soon as we hit it, then the city might put it back a couple more weeks or something like that.
Right.
But I mean, it's still exciting. It's gonna happen. It's not like the freeway changes and this damn construction all over town. We actually have seen the light at the end of this tunnel. So I mean, we're all excited. We'll be neighbors downtown.
Yeah, no, all kidding aside, I think it looks beautiful inside. Very nice colors. Very nice. I think it's gonna be very beautiful. And I now realize what it's like to build something in 2025 with all the
hoops you have to jump through.
All the hoops you have to jump through, all the letters you have to sign, all the hands you have to shake, all the babies you have to.
The safeties, the regulations,
it's not as easy
plumbing.
as going down to Home Depot and grabbing some drywall and just starting now.
Hey, that's what we used to do in my backyard when my cousins were coming from Mexico. You just go build a house for them in the backyard, and they just sleep there, and then you tear it down and return the lumber. It's just, we're shifty.
Good Lord!
You ever seen the show Mo?
Mo
on
no.
Netflix.
No,
you would enjoy it. Just check it out if you.
Oh yes, with
I just started watching it. And it is hilarious, and that just hit a nerve when the episode I was watching last night.
Yeah, dude.
You're talking about when we used to come from Mexico, it was $500, and then 2025, it's $10,000 for a family. But yeah, it's good stuff. So the final, what are you going to do on Thursdays after tonight?
Well, I think I'm probably gonna watch Thursday Night Football. Take my
Enjoy
shirt
your
off and
time
cheer
off.
when my team loses. Yeah, no, I'm gonna, maybe start up an open mic in my bedroom and see if anyone wants to come over and read me their jokes. Only you're invited. So
Only okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
yeah.
decline that invitation.
that's fine.
I'll be there.
Okay,
Yeah, Steven
Steven will be here.
Steven will be
Okay,
there.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, good lord! But no plan.
I'll call you Sparky though.
No plan for you guys in the pregame show to shift over, like to
No, as far as I know,
brewery?
no. As far as I know, no. I don't know if I don't know. This is me speaking honestly. I don't know if this is my last ever night performing at the Fox Theater, and I don't mean that in an Eva sense or like.
Doubt that.
No, well, I don't know if I'll ever be back because I look at things like Aaron Rodgers changed my point of view. Aaron Rodgers when he was out the door at the Green Bay, he used to say, "We just got to be in the moment and enjoy this team now because this team right now is never gonna be together again." So I live by that philosophy. That's my ayahuasca. I now enjoy every moment. I imagine
to the fullest.
I imagine this moment in this room is probably the last time I'll be here after the jokes I've been cracking.
You got that,
but
you got
It
that
might be
high
your final
school
time on the
senior-
EBS show.
Yeah, you got that high school senior rose-colored glasses thing going for you right
do.
now. I don't
I
know
live
what's
in
going on.
senioritis, dude. I live like I'm
Exactly.
gonna graduate. And
That's like it's the last I'm going to walk down these streets today.
Well, speaking of
Such
Aaron
a
Rodgers,
lonely-
he's one touchdown away from Brett Favre's all-time touchdown list.
Yeah, and half the interceptions. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize he was that much of a gunslinger. With football.
I think a lot of people forget how many interceptions Brett Favre was very well known for throwing.
Was he? I mean, I grew up
yeah.
at like the edge of. I started
This
watching.
is- Well, I mean, I grew up the same time as you,
Yeah.
but this is why I've never understood why people put Brett Favre on their Mount Rushmores or their top quarterback lists. I'm like, no. Like, don't get me wrong. I know he won a Super Bowl early in his career, but the guy threw just as many. He was Jameis Winston before Jameis Winston.
Wow, no way.
I mean, he was a great arm talent, and he has plenty of talent as a quarterback. But yeah, he made plenty of mistakes.
Oh shoot! I just heard about it after the fact. The mistakes meaning that he stole money from like the welfare department.
Well,
But,
yeah, those were different kind of fumbles, though.
That's why it's hard to be like a Packers fan and be like, yeah, that's my cute.
Just like how he fumbled the New York Jets sideline commentator too. But I mean,
Yes.
we won't get into that.
And he threw an interception when he was on the Vikings.
As a Packer fan, though,
That's me.
who is higher on your list? Are you more of an Aaron guy then, or a Brett guy?
I literally grew like from a teenager, 2007 is about when I started watching football. Right when like Aaron Rodgers took over. So like I remember I had like a Favre jersey, but it was like,
You just kind of knew of the legends of old.
Yeah. And I saw him like on the Madden 2004, 2005. I knew about like Amon Green, and like dudes like that. But no, I grew up watching Rodgers. So like I saw Rodgers fumble all those championship games, fumble all those playoff games, all because of the defense. So I'm used to that. I'm used to like choking in the playoffs.
Did Dez catch it? We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I at this point we've taken enough from Cowboys fan. They can have that. They can
take it.
Yeah, they can have the fact that was a catch. But we have Micah
Which
Parsons.
one was worse, Dez's catch, non-catch, or the trade away of Micah Parsons? Not sure which.
I don't know which one was a bigger fumble, but either way, I'm happy that we're on the good end of the both of those.
100%.
When I found out, it is nuts what football does to you, isn't it? Isn't it crazy that like you'll read something on the internet saying that a team that you don't know and have no like physical connection to drafted another football player that you don't know and have no connection to, and you get so excited and go and hug your parents that you got it. Like, isn't that little
or piss you off the rest of the Sunday?
or the rest of the week,
right?
And then see all the negative videos. Everyone, when your team loses, dude, you're probably living in HE double hockey sticks right now, Sparky.
I'm used to it.
All the hate you're getting for Tyreek is texting his baby mom on the sidelines.
We've got the worst fan base in the NFL, and it might just be because of my reels and my feeds on my social media, but I've been saying it for 15 years. Dolphin fans are the worst. And I know you guys don't know a lot of them because they're not a lot in California.
Yeah.
But the ones I've been talking to for decades are horrible football fans. I don't even think they understand the rules in football. But that's once again, it's in my hell that I moved myself into. It's only my fault that I'm in this.
What are
I
some
coulda
of the
swapped
crazy
teams.
things you're seeing that they're saying? Like,
Oh,
what
they've
are,
been giving up on players before. We should have traded this guy.
oh, what about Mike
we shoulda had
McDaniel? How do
this.
you feel? What do you?
Like I've been saying even over a year,
Mhm.
I like the guy, but I don't know if the players we don't know anything about what goes on in those buildings. I it feels like he took the job because Flores didn't want Tua. Miami was sold or we drafted him high. You're stuck with him or you're gone. And they shipped Flores out which I like Flores defense, but there was no offense when Flores was there. He's not a head coach. He's a defensive coordinator. But in Miami, they chose their quarterback. They chose Tua, like they chose the other 30 after Marino. And I say they brought in an offensive genius to try to help this kid, and they made their bed, and now we're living in it. So if McDaniel can't figure it out, I think the next 3 games for Miami is all division games. If we're 0-4 or 2-2, I think we need to at least win 2 of the next 3, or all of them need to go.
The whole clean house.
I think Tua needs to go.
Oh.
Tyreek needs to go. The coach, I think the GM needs to go. I think the GM should have been gone a decade ago, but that's just my opinion.
It's been enough of this regime, clearly, and I just don't like the idea of this cool young, coach coming in with the vape.
See,
like
I
you
can't
know,
even say cool young anymore because the last couple of years,
cool
well,
young
no.
looking. I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
he looks like a.
But
like
no,
a
I meant more
teenager.
about the cool part because
Okay.
when you listen to this guy talk in interviews, and I've made this point to Sparky a few times, when he knows the question that he's about to be asked, he has the coolest, calmest, most articulate answer. But if you throw him a question that he's not expecting or he just doesn't know the answer to, he stutters. He looks around as if he's a journalism major that's told to go up in front of 1,000 people and talk about the story you just wrote. It's like, don't know exactly how to do this.
Or drunk or something.
No. I won't go that far, but I just don't think that he is.
I know alcohol has been an issue with them over the years. So I don't think it's that.
It's true. Yes. Dan
I
Soder
don't know.
talks about it because Dan Soder, the comedian, I guess they're like they grew up best friends or something, and that I guess he used to be sober. There was like in this documentary.
Yeah, there was a whole special on it. He was when he was in Frisco.
Yeah.
He had some alcohol issues and he went into school. He's a smart kid. I mean, he understands his stuff, but I think it's the same thing. I almost think he makes up words when
it's
he
like
doesn't.
A confidence issue, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
and it is definitely a confidence issue.
Oh,
Anybody
yeah.
that you've known, any addicts, you know what I mean? They always have to be addicted to something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think football and the playbook, and I think things were going well when he had the option. And I almost starting to think that he might be like Flores, where he is a genius in his part of the field, and maybe he's not a head coach type guy. You know what I mean?
Kind of like Dan Campbell. He's maybe a good head coach, but he can't call plays on offense or defense, baby. And
he's a motivator.
Yeah,
he's really the best.
He's
motivator.
the guy that give me run through the wall. But once I run through the wall, I'm like, what do I do, coach? He's like, I don't know.
Run again.
Run through it again.
Hand the ball to Gibbs. Run again.
But I've seen Miami, change out. We've done this dance so many times growing up. So I'm not sold on any of it.
Failed regime.
And I'm not giving up on him yet. Like I said, the next 3 games are really going to prove the future of all of those guys.
You could beat the Jets.
I think they could beat all of them.
Wow.
I personally, we had the Bills up to 2 points last year in the last games. I just think the Bills, the Patriots, the Jets, we play them so damn much. We know what they're going to do. It's just, can they step up? And I think it's the same thing with like Tyreek. I was so pumped when we signed him. And then I started reading more about his history and all this stuff off the field. I'm like, I can't respect this kid off the field.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
it must like I'm lucky with like the Packers. Typically, like they're usually like pretty good, and I would hate to have that like having the off the field issues like be another issue to be like when people call you out on why your team sucks and your receiver
beats up women.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like,
damn.
come on.
I don't have anything back.
It must suck being a Ravens fan, dude. I don't know. Like, it just like I'm glad that. But the biggest thing for the last few years was Rodgers disowned his family and hated his dad, and it's like, yeah.
But after watching this documentary on that on Netflix, it kind of makes it seem like the parents are the problem. I know it's always,
I feel like it.
It's whoever produces the documentary. Obviously,
Sure,
you're gonna get, but I don't know. Like, I've seen a lot of instances where families do that to some people in their family, and I've never understood why. So until I'm seen otherwise and actually meet his brother or his family members, I have to side with Aaron. I don't necessarily feel like it's his fault for any of that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's hard when there's like money and all this stuff happening with someone in the family. My family went crazy when the stimulus checks went out. You know, like we didn't know what to do with the 1,400. So like, I feel like if you're dealing with millions and millions of dollars and careers, and I did this for you and I did that for you, it's just like it just gets messy.
Well, and it's never enough to a lot of these people. And honestly, I think it didn't help the family's case when the brother went on The Bachelor and then that entire thing happened. So and then immediately used his brother for, popularity purposes, but turned around and said, buddy, he's a POS and we don't love him. It's like, but you could still run around telling everybody you're Aaron Rodgers' brother.
All of a sudden then it's okay to use the name.
Exactly. So that tells me a lot about you.
Well, I also know you're a tennis guy.
Oh, huge tennis guy right here.
What'd you think about the recent Open?
Oh, it was fantastic. I'm a huge Carlos Alcaraz fan, as we say it in España. I'm so glad he took the #1 spot again. Nothing against Yannick Sinner, but I just don't like him after he did those doping things a couple years ago, allegedly. No, I mean, and
it was a recovery spray.
Yeah, okay. I have a recovery spray too, then, and now my testosterone's at 1,500. I'll just say that.
That's what we hear. It was a recovery spray.
It was a recovery spray. Yeah, okay. That's what I tell people. Never mind. No, it seems like a good thing when you get caught cheating. It was recovery spray, babe. Like, I don't know. Anyway, no,
Anthony, put the foot down. Sorry,
I got foot fungus on my lip. My bad. No, I'm so glad Alcaraz is #1 again. I was very pleased with the final. I knew that, by the way. Did you guys watch it at all? Or
no, go for it.
Yeah,
so we watched. I was able to at least watch the final couple matches. I wasn't able to follow the whole thing.
I knew watching it that because Alcaraz lost at Wimbledon, he was going to come back with a vengeance. And I saw that he hadn't dropped the set the entire.
Same with Yannick though. Yannick really didn't lose a set throughout the tournament either.
No, but he had a couple. He dropped a couple sets during US Open, and he went to a couple tie breaks, like maybe in like the quarterfinals or the one right before that. He was blitzing through, and then one of them, like he
had a pretty rough time.
And then I started watching, like I as like a intermediate casual tennis player, I started watching Yannick, and I'm like, not being that fat guy criticizing fit tennis players, but I was like, dude, like I could beat him if I had like their skill. But it's like because Yannick just is a baseliner. Yannick plays from the back, and it just kind of hits hard, hits fast. Alcaraz, which is why a lot of people maybe don't like him if you're a tennis player, is that he changes things up. He hits drop shots. He hits like a slice over here. He'll hit a top spin here, a flat hit here. And that is really hard to combat that puts you on defense immediately. And it'll put you in an unfavorable spot. And when I saw Alcaraz doing that against Yannick, I'm like, oh, dude, he's gonna win. Like just because Yannick is just sitting at the back, just hitting hard, but Carlos can get all those hard hits that number 72 from Croatia can't. It's like
you're not doing anything that can beat me.
Exactly. And then Carlos will take Yannick out of it and hit a little drop shot, and then Yannick has to go up, get him in a weird position. Boom, you won the point. And you just saw like Yannick get a little upset, and like. You saw how happy Carlos was. Like, you can just tell. Like, I finally been playing enough tennis that you can kind of see when the momentum shifts.
Yeah.
Even in football, I thought the Bears had it. I thought the Bears had it against the Vikings this past Monday. And then just because the Vikings were playing so terrible, but then the Vikings locked in and won, I was like, oh shoot, I didn't.
The momentum changes
exactly, and then you can even see that in tennis where it's like. You just see someone get upset after losing break point after 3 games. You're like, oh, dude, they're done. Like,
they're in their head.
Dude. And I know because I'm that guy that when I play, I get in my head so bad. I start criticizing everything about myself, and I just start losing points.
Yeah.
And that's why tennis, dude, they ain't got no coach patting you. They ain't got no Dan Campbell being like, yeah, but it's just you in your head, and that's why, like, dude, it was cool to see Carlos come back and win it, because I'm a Carlos fan. I mean,
I was watching for Serena, and I mean,
mhm.
I've been. It's funny you bring that up, because I'm teaching my son the same thing with momentum with sports, and I'm like, dude, you can be upset about what happened, shake it off,
Yeah.
and get ready for the next play. And it's the same thing I'm seeing a lot. I turned the channel on the Monday, or was it the Bills and Ravens game?
Sunday.
I turned it. I'm not a big Josh Allen fan, obviously, so
Mhm.
I turned it. I'm like, I know
Oh.
it's going to be close, but I had my ticker. Like, I was watching the scoreboard because I
Yeah.
knew, okay, if it gets close, I'm turning it back. And I did the same thing on Monday with the Vikings game. I
Mhm.
had the ticker. I'm like, okay, and I saw it within. I think they were down 7 or 10. I'm like, okay, this one's going to be a good one. I think I turned it back with 7 or 8 minutes. But that's the great thing about sports. You can't ever count anybody out. The momentum can change. And luckily, that was a hell of a U.S. Open. And Serena, I'm just hoping that
Venus.
they get both of them, though. The
Mhm.
talk was to get Serena and Venus next year.
Mhm.
So I was gonna bounce that. What do you think? Do you think she's done, or you think?
Yeah, I feel like it's they can do these cool matches when they're like, in Egypt, and it's a pink tennis court, and it's like Rolex is sponsoring it. Like
Mhm.
these, like,
Just promotional type
these
games?
like ATP, or like these, I don't know if it's I don't know, just like these undercard type tournaments. It's
Mhm.
like, go and do those, dude. Like, I get it, you want to be on the national stage, but you shouldn't be taking a wild card spot away from someone that is doing well now. And this whole thing happened with Sam Wawrinka. He won the 2016 U.S. Open, and he tried to he tried to use like a wild card spot. And the issue was that, why are we giving it to Venus? She hasn't played in 12 years, and this guy won less than 10 years ago. But that dude has been in tournaments and he's been losing round one a bunch. So it's like, dude, this dude's butt right now.
Yeah, we gotta change it up.
Doesn't exactly have the momentum.
Yeah,
to help.
and it's like Cilic from Croatia. Like, he had won maybe a couple years before him, and he went and lost like in the first or second round this time. It's like, so I don't know. It's like I want to see like this dude from Hong Kong that came out and he was like ripping it, just like these young kid. I'm like, I want to see these new young rookie dudes come out, because you don't know who the next one's gonna be, and it's just the same thing with everything. It's good to get a new influx. Serena, Venus, y'all had your time, you killed it. Go do those like cool, like little tournaments.
Well, I want to make sure I threw in some tennis, because I know you're a big fan and you play. We've got our friend Debbie coming in here in a couple of weeks before the women's invitational comes up over at the Racket Club.
Oh, that's awesome. Heck yeah, dude. Tennis is awesome. If you don't play pickleball, play tennis.
It's the healthiest sport on the planet, from what they kept saying.
Yeah, you're telling me I'm 280. Okay.
Hey, man, they were saying statistics show if you play tennis, apparently you live 9 years longer than anybody else.
Yeah, I'm hoping that cancels out all my cigarette usage and it just kind of like balances out.
I don't think you can help with that one, big guy. I don't know exactly what the life expectancy is on death sticks.
But go out to Ava's
tonight, 7:00.
Final.
Last one this month. Come check it out. I'll see you there.
All right. We appreciate your time, brother. Keep it tuned in. We've got our handicapper, Bolt Brady, coming up to help you make money right here on the Early Bird Special.
I'm just not a big Drake May fan at this point. I like the Dolphins. They're minus the 1.5.
There's a lot of faith in Drake May, though, and a product that he can be. I mean, do you think New England has any chance to really come back and turn this season around?
No, I
not
don't.
At all.
No, I think the Patriots are overrated right now.
I mean, that's safe.
I was on the fence. I was thinking New England, Vrabel, this defense is going to look better. It is only week 2, so I could be way wrong, but I am not sold on Drake May. I have never been a big Drake May fan. And to tell you the truth, I think Miami's going to come out pissed, and they'll probably heat up that side of the field like they always do in a hot Miami field. So I sure hope Miami comes to play this week.
Yeah, you never want to overreact after one game, and so it's the NFL. It's crazy. They can get blown out one week, and then the next week they come back and blow someone out. So hopefully that's what happens.
A 1.5 point spread, though, does that kind of deter you at all? Or are you just taking money line with this?
Yeah, you could go with money line with that. That's a smart play to do, just to take the points out of it. Sure.
Okay, fantastic. Any other big games you're looking at?
Well, there are some, let's stay in California here. The 49ers, the line was 7.5 against the Saints. But then Brock Purdy's probably going to be out. So the line dropped all the way down to 3.5. And that is just a total overreaction. Brock Purdy is not worth 4 points to the line. Mac Jones can get the job done. Spencer Rattler's probably the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. I like the 49ers.
So how do you feel about this? And going to the opposite side here, since we talked about the Niners, the Baltimore Ravens having an 11.5 point spread right now over the Cleveland Browns. I realize they're at home, but are you taking the points on that one?
I would definitely lean with Cleveland there. I mean, I think with Joe Flacco, they're not as bad as they used to be, and that line, when you get in double digits in the NFL, it's really high. So if I had to take someone there, I would definitely take the Browns.
Fantastic. Any college games you're looking out for this weekend? I know there's a couple big ones in Florida that people are looking out at.
Yeah, there are. Last week we had 3 games that went well for us, but this week we're just going to go with one, and it's going to be Tennessee plus 3.5 versus the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia has had 2 cupcake games coming into this, and the offense really hasn't looked that great. Their average depth of target for Gunner, the quarterback, is only 5 yards, and that is just not going to cut it here in the SEC. So I like Tennessee plus the 3.5.
I know you're not a betting on this one, but any thoughts on USF taking on the U?
This is going to be tough, I think. I mean, just because of USF's schedule and how many highs they've had, I think they might run out of gas here.
I would love to see them circle around the wagon, though, in all these Florida teams.
That would be nice.
It would be fantastic to watch. Not to say you're betting on this, but how does Vegas look at this? I mean, I know this is, on paper, it's no longer a huge underdog game, seeing as USF is now in the ranked system, but when's the last time we really thought Southern Florida would be anywhere close to competitive against some of these top 25 teams? Vegas.
Oh, I know. It's so great.
And I'm
sure it's great for their program. It's just hard to keep the momentum going week after week, and they're college kids. So they're probably having a really good time during the middle of the week as well.
Yeah, enjoying a lot of these big wins. So thank you, sir, for your time.
We had a listener asking, can you ask Bolt, Colorado or Houston? Houston's favored 4.5.
Wow. Yeah, I am not high on Colorado right now. They look terrible. They're actually going to their 3rd string quarterback. Dion is more than likely. Colorado, I watched the whole game, and they are not doing it for me right now. So I would lean with Houston there.
Yeah, I just saw ESPN reporting that the Wisconsin quarterback is probably out against Alabama this weekend. That might change up some things as well.
How do you feel about Dion's future with Colorado if they aren't able to turn this around?
I don't think he's going to stay there very long.
I don't either. I don't think if they figure this out, he sticks around just to be, namesake the coach of Colorado Buffalo. You know what I mean? Not when somebody like the Dallas Cowboys might be knocking on your door.
Yeah, he's done a lot for bringing in money to the community and the college and stuff, but with his son's gone, and if he's losing, I don't think he'll be having much fun.
No, I have to agree with you 100%. Sir, thank you so much for your time. As always, we'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.
Thank you. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM 1230 AM ESPN Bakersfield, streaming live video-wise online at Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of that good stuff. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Final segment, the day. Want to thank our guests, Anthony Jauregui and Bolt Brady. Hopefully you guys listen to Bolt this week, win some money over the weekend. He was fantastic last week. And I'm telling you, if you don't utilize this time like our texter did, fantastic to hear from somebody that actually wants to utilize his knowledge of the betting world. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to win money if you listen to Bolt Brady. So we're trying to help you out. Whether you utilize that time or not is up to you. We have a handful of stories, though, to get to before we get out of here. I want to just quickly mention this one. Crazy story that happened back in late August of the death of Ethan Pritchard, Florida State linebacker. Seems to be a case of mistaken identity, as 4 people were arrested for the connection of, or in the connection of the shooting of this young man. These people jumped him while he was dropping off his aunt and her child at their apartment. They believed it to be somebody completely different, shot him in the back of the head, and unfortunately, obviously, he passed away. And the Florida State Seminoles, although had a fantastic athlete on the roster, is honoring him and have honored him. They honored him last week, and they will continue to honor him the rest of the season. But 4 suspects have been arrested for that. So we'll give you an update when we get there. And I'm not going to say the 4 suspects' names because I am kind of on the side of we shouldn't give these guys any credit or any kind of recognition for doing stuff like this at all. So unfortunate that this happened, but I'm glad to hear that justice will most likely be served here very soon. And the Florida State family, as well as the Pritchard family, can grieve in peace knowing that the 4 men responsible for this are under the watchful eye of the government and the judicial system. So hopefully we will get this sorted out. You said you had some NBA stories we wanted to get to real quick.
Oh, there was also 3 college basketball players that are permanently banned for betting on themselves in these prop bets.
Not what they mean when they tell you to bet on yourself there, son. Not
Nope.
what they mean at all. But what schools did these guys go to? Do we know?
It is 2 from Fresno State and 1 from San Jose State. And they have been proven that they were, let's say, underperforming for their certain stat categories to win bets. They put over $2,000 to win 15 grand, and they have proof over 13 different prop bets on themselves, and they will be pretty much banned from playing basketball. They just ruined their career just by betting on themselves in gambling. But the 2 things I wanted to bring up, and one in the NBA, is we talked about it a couple months ago, but players were talking about they didn't like to heave the ball at the half court line because it messed up their stats. And some of them were talking about that, it is a low percentage shot and I'm not going to screw up prop bets or my overall stats. And the NBA announced yesterday that they have now announced a heave rule that missed end of quarter games, halftime shots, anything from 36 feet away or longer will not count as a personal stat. It will actually go with the team field goal miss. So they're hoping, the NBA commissioner is hoping that that we'll get more exciting half court shots.
Wild that we are bending the knee to sports betting again. That's essentially what this is, especially when prop bets get brought up as a reason for not wanting to do it. Look, man, you make the decision to take the shot. No one's forcing you to shoot that.
Well, that was the issue. The commissioner was saying that he was seeing multiple players not shoot them.
Yes.
When it was a half court shot, and in the meetings, they were saying players weren't doing it because of the prop bets and their overall stats in their career. So
tell me you're betting without telling me you're betting.
And that's the players commissioner now, and he's going to bend these rules just to keep everyone happy.
And that's what I'm saying. And don't get me wrong, Silver does a fantastic job of keeping everybody happy.
I don't like the guy.
I just don't think this is the right move. I really don't. I think he's an improvement over Stern. Don't get me wrong, but bending the knee to sports betting isn't exactly the right move. I get taking the players' consideration into it as well as a reason. So if that is what the players say and the players don't want it that way for that reason, sure. But let's not use sports betting as an example. Prop bets shouldn't be an example for why you don't do something. Because one, to me, that admits guilt. Why would you care? Why do you care about a prop bet that you have no stake in? That's the only thing that pops up in my head. So if you care about a prop bet, then that shows me that you give a dang about what's going on. And you most likely have a stake in whatever that prop bet is. That's weird. That's very, very weird. But again, if it's more based on the fact players just don't want their stats messed up, I still find that to be a little ridiculous.
Stupid.
It's one shot, and to be honest with you, y'all take way worse ones during the game.
It's like you're gonna shoot 43s anyway.
Exactly.
What's
And
one more?
3 or 4 of them are going to have guys draped all over you, so you might as well have shot it from half court. But it just, I don't know. When we're using prop bets as a reason, that doesn't exactly sit well with me.
Well, before we get to these final texts, they're all fantasy lines, so I'll throw them at you. But the last one I wanted to bring up was just a funny story. Is Belichick and his old lady, Jordan Hudson, or young lady, as I should say, recently had filed for trademarks, and 4 of the famous ones that were denied yesterday were all because they are already trademarked by the Patriots.
Ha!
And it's just like this long thing that they're going to go back and forth. But
now
supposedly,
I see where the salt is.
Belichick and Jordan Hudson went for "do your job," and in parentheses they all say Bills verse. The other one was "ignore the noise," the Bellustrator, and "no days off." They tried to copyright all 4 or trademark all 4 of those.
3 of those 4, you got to know the Patriots have rights to that.
And,
now the Billustrator, that's lame.
And
I'm
all
sorry.
of them,
That's just super lame.
All 4 of them are trademarked by the Patriots. So they said it's too close to what's already trademarked. They have up to 3 months to appeal. But going into your text before we wrap up the show, the first one says, will you drop the Chiefs kicker for Boswell from Pittsburgh?
Yes, 100%. If you can get Boz, always get Boz. Boz is one of the most consistent kickers across the league, if not in fantasy football. I do like Harrison Butker, though, at the same time. But if Boswell is if Boswell is an option, always take Boswell.
The next one says the Steelers defense or the Chargers?
Steelers, 110%. There's no telling what the Chargers are going to have coming out into this Monday night game. I'm still not 100% certain if what we saw was legit or if it was a fluke, much like the Colts. So we will see what happens against the Raiders. But if I had to make a bet on it right now, yeah, I wouldn't be taking the Chargers.
The next one says, any updates on Brock Bowers? Is he going to play this week?
As far as I could tell, he's playing. That's the one thing that really has been left out of a lot of these injury reports. I haven't even seen him put down in the injury report, so I'm assuming he's playing. He may have just gotten dinged up at the end of that game, and they wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be hurt long term. So I would say start him if you have him.
Jonnu Smith against Seattle, Dalton Kincaid versus the Jets and New England, Boutte, or should I go with Ford? Don't go with Ford.
Yeah, don't go with Ford. At this point, the Cleveland Browns have no idea what they're doing in the run game.
But it looks like it's 2 questions: Jonnu,
I
or
thought
Kincaid,
because the other guy I think was a running back. So I'm going to go Jonnu in that case because Kincaid
got 15 points for me last week.
I know, but Jonnu is in that offense that
Jonnu worries me just because of Pat and multiple tight ends.
True, but I mean, again, it's I don't know, man.
It's a tough one.
It really is, and I want to say Jonnu just because Aaron Rodgers tends to find the more athletic of his tight ends and get the ball to him, and they saw a lot of passes go to Jonnu Smith in week 1. So,
and the other one, I would just steer away from Ford in general.
Yeah, don't touch Ford right now.
That is a heavy, too many heads in that running back room to
100%.
even. I'm sticking away from Cleveland. But the last one before it was a wrestling question says, hey guys, should I go with Tyreek versus New England or Devontae Adams versus Tennessee?
Devontae Adams versus Tennessee. They have less in the secondary, and we've said it a couple times now. Although Tennessee looks like it's sparkled, awful, but it's still awful. You can put as much glitter on it as you want, but it's still going to be awful.
The final question, and we got our Kern County Fair tickets given away. Thank you guys for all the text. The last one says, how do I watch WrestlePalooza? Do I have to get ESPN?
At this point, yes, but you can get yourself a VPN as well, or there are websites you can find. I cannot share said websites on this radio station because obviously I don't have any. I go with ESPN. You go with the ESPN app. Why would you not go with the ESPN
So
app?
yes, go to the ESPN.
Yeah, go with ESPN. It's the easiest route for you. Trust me. I know $30 a month sucks, but you guys are willing to pay $30 on a lot of other stuff. Trust me right now. I went to a fast food place. Almost everything there is $20 now.
Yes.
That is wild.
And I shut down my Disney and shut down Hulu and then just got all three for $30. So
Exactly.
I'm not.
Do the bundle, get ESPN app. It'll work out for you in the end, I promise. But at this point, if you're a wrestling fan, you're kind of tied that way. That's how you're going to get it done. So, or, watch the WWE podcast networks and they can give you some ideas from their end. But on our end, it's the ESPN app. This has been the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Thank you guys for joining us. Join us back here tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m. as always. Chris Flail will be joining us once again, as he always does. Until then, we got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's get out of here.